I'm going to spare my very good friend Will Brinson, senior NFL writer, CBSSports.com, who sorts the Sunday pile. I'm going to spare him Panthers talk because I respect you. And
it only took a year and a half of the Bryce Young experiment for you to call the dogs off. I appreciate it.
Yeah, it's not good. I've had my piece. I said this. I was telling people that we'll talk about the Commanders Bears, but until the end of that, until the fourth quarter of that game, I think Bo Nix, the Panthers basically launched Bo Nix into the offensive rookie of the year discussion. Ridiculous.
He looked unbelievable against the Panthers defense.
Yeah, the Panthers defense is terrible. This is the only thing I will say. I'm dead serious because I'm going to talk more about this later, and I want to get to a bunch of other games. If David Tepper fired Dave Canales today, I would support the owner.
Yeah, especially since he raised $24 million for Western North Carolina.
Yeah.
By all accounts, everything I've heard, say whatever you want about his football acumen, but by all accounts was basically paid for the whole shindig and set that up. And very philanthropical. 5 or 6 more of those will make up for the Bryce Young trade.
Yes, it is worth pointing out that the concert at Bank of America Stadium this weekend raised $24.5 million, which is monies that is going to Western North Carolina. They also donated $1.5 million, I think, to pre-education charities. So yes, be philanthropic. That is, in some ways, the responsibility of the wealth that he has accumulated over his career. So I absolutely commend him for doing that. In a football sense, I think he's got it wrong with the head coach because
agreed.
I could not believe what I watched yesterday. I thought it was an embarrassment. I felt bad for Bryce Young. He had no chance to succeed. I also think Xavier Legette didn't try to catch that ball, but that was on Legette. I don't think he was directed to not catch the ball. Let me get to other games. There is something special going on in Washington. It was not a game that is going to go into the time capsule, although the Commandos put up a bunch of yards. They couldn't do anything. They couldn't score. But that play at the end, where do you want to start? Do you want to start with the play before the play, which I'm kind of blown away that was thrown away? Why would you just allow them to pick up 15 yards to make the Hail Mary possible? Why would you do that?
Look, it's hard to defend. It's hard. I think even even the best defensive coaches can kind of struggle in those moments because you're sort of, and I think Jayden Daniels, playing against Jayden Daniels, you saw the way that they rushed the final play, right? And they're being ripped for it. I get it. They had a guy who's kind of trying to spy. They're trying to rush, but they don't want to over rush and give Jayden Daniels an opportunity to run.
What is he going to do? Is he going to run for a touchdown?
We saw Lamar almost do it earlier this year against the Raiders, and before he threw the ball. I'm just saying, I think a guy like Jayden Daniels, a guy like Lamar Jackson, brings in just an entirely different way you sort of approach it, and it sort of befuddles the mind of even good defensive coaches. But yeah, you gave him the yardage, you let him get in range, 12 yards back. He's not getting the ball to the end zone. I don't think.
No.
He got it where it needed to be. I don't remember the name of the Bears defender who's getting absolutely roasted today.
Tyreek Stevenson. We're going to get to him in a second too.
My man, it's just maybe don't be taunting the fans until after the Hail Mary. Love Noah Brown. Right place, right time. Got down there, hustled, put his hands up. It's just an incredible moment, and it's one of those things where in college we always talk about the Heisman moments. Jayden Daniels has 4 or 5 of those already early in his career.
Yeah.
And I think you do have to worry about the running and the injuries, the rib injury last week, but he's back this week, even after not practicing until I think Friday. It was a sneaky practice job. Gets out there, has him in position to win. The defense kind of lets him down. Dan Quinn maybe lets him down. Caleb scores, and then he pulls off a miracle. If you're a Washington fan, you have to feel better about your franchise than you have in – I guess since, this is the cautionary tale, right? Since RG3 took the league by storm, running a gimmick offense.
Right.
Jayden Daniels, I don't think is that. I mean, you watch him play, the ease at which he throws, the repetitiveness of his throwing motion, the calmness that he exudes when he's out there.
Yep.
He looks like he belongs. I mean, he looks like a franchise quarterback, and he was the number 2 overall pick. It's unbelievable.
Yeah, I mean, I think both quarterbacks are going to be great. I think Caleb Williams is going to be great too.
Yeah.
So yeah, I think both franchises got it right. But the play before was baffling to me that was allowed. Real quick to Stevenson, for all of his jackassery, he was in position. He actually got the tip on the ball. He was bumped into by a teammate, I believe, which pushed him forward. I think if he's not bumped, he probably knocks that ball down. He was in position, so he acted like a jerk. But by the time the play had developed, he was already in the play because it took so long to develop. It's bad form. You got to respect the game. He obviously did not respect the game. So
but also, if he just kept taunting the fans, he probably doesn't get there to get the ball, and the Bears knock it down and win. I mean, I just think if you're doing that, you're not focusing on the job at hand.
Oh, I'm with you on that. But he was actually in position to make the play. He just didn't. Victoria said it was karma, and I am a believer in karma.
I also think that if he is doing what he's supposed to be doing and just following Noah Brown around, maybe he's behind. Because I don't know if it's a tough spot because you don't want to be. But you can't have anybody behind everybody else on the other team. Right, you gotta even if you gotta jump up and make a play on it, you're just not going to get PI called there unless you just maul the guy. So you just can't let your defender, the guy you're assigned to cover, behind everybody else in the event that it is popped up. Because Noah Brown just kind of stuck it. He's like,
yep.
Well.
And as soon as it's tipped, there's no such thing as pass interference.
Exactly.
You could have beaten him with a crowbar.
Just tackle him and clean him through, and there's just no touchdown. I mean, it's amazing how I had get up, which they got rid of the exclamation point, but I still like to say it like that on earlier. And I mean, same thing with Sports Center and CBS Sports HQ and every other. We're doing it right now. I mean. We don't overreact to 1 week, don't overreact to one play, but that was a pretty big one.
There's only 17 of these games. You're going to overreact to all of them. They end up being so important. All right, can we toe tag the New Jersey Football Jets at 2-6?
I mean, what did I say last week? I don't want to. It was you go to the Patriots. By the way, the Jets have not swept the Patriots. The last time the Jets swept the Patriots, Aaron Rodgers was in high school. That is insane. It is the third longest non-sweep streak by an interdivisional opponent. The Lions and the Packers had one that went. It's 24 years, I think, now for the Jets and the Patriots. The Lions and the Packers have 25 years that ended in 2016. The Steelers and the Browns have one that's 33 years, I think, or 32 years, and it's still ongoing, which is just something else.
Right.
But I mean, this was a game against, not only did you get the Patriots at their absolute nadir, right? This is their lowest point. The expectations are low. You're a huge favorite. You're going in there. You've already beaten them once. You get Drake May knocked out before halftime with a concussion. Clearly, the offense has been better with May than it was with Jacoby Brissett. The defense for the Patriots maybe sparked a little bit by Gerard Mayo's comments and Bill Belichick's response about him calling them soft. But still, this is a limited defense. You should be able to beat them. You've added Devontae Adams. Breece Hall did nothing.
Yep.
It is Aaron Rodgers. I mean, this, you just can't lose this game. And I hesitate to call it. It was definitely a can't-lose game, and they lost it.
Yep.
And it's just congrats, you fired the coach. I think it was Roger Sherman tweeted. It's all right, we're just one more Aaron Rodgers' best friend away from finally flipping the script. It's 6 days later. All right, one more. like Randall Cobb, where you at, bro? Like,
right.
can we get Marcus Valdez-Scantling? I mean, like, it's just an embarrassment. I can't imagine being a Jets fan and having to go through this in back-to-back seasons when you flipped everything on its head and changed expectations because you've got a 4-time MVP in the house, and Rodgers just, you know, like he looks kind of washed.
He's bad. He's bad. Yeah. I said it last week. The problem is Aaron Rodgers. If Rodgers were close to being, like, nobody expected him to be what he was 3 years ago in his last healthy season when he was the second, what he's a back-to-back MVP.
Back-to-back MVP,
If he was 75% of that, the Jets would be okay. But he's not even close to that. He's like 40% of that.
It's his worst record through 8 games in his career at 2-6. His worst completion percentage of his career through 8 games. His worst touchdown number of touchdown passes. I think his second worst number of interceptions through 8 games, and his worst passer rating ever through 8 games. I mean, he is. It feels like with this move to the Jets, you know, and he's coming off the Achilles. I mean, but Cousins is lighting it up for Atlanta. Yeah. It feels like he has hit that proverbial wall that we oftentimes see quarterbacks do, with Tom Brady being the super rare exception.
But here's where the Jets have infected Aaron Rodgers. And I said when they traded for him, I'm like, it will be interesting to see if Aaron Rodgers can overcome Jets.
The Jets.
Like whatever that disease is, that football disease that Jets is.
I'm pretty sure your audience is keenly aware of what we're speaking of.
Right.
Except now on the professional level. Yeah.
But the Jets right now are the worst coach team other than the Panthers in the entire National Football League. They don't use motion. They don't do anything.
Aaron Rodgers thing. Aaron Rodgers is adamant that he just. But you know what? Like, you see the numbers. The numbers do not lie in this case. Play action, pre-snap motion, make it easier on quarterbacks. Aaron Rodgers may think that the lack of motion allows him to diagnose the holes in the defense, and that's great. But clearly, this vanilla scheme and the way that they're approaching it, and like it worked in Green Bay for a long time.
Right.
The defenses are different, and it's the lack of embracing that. It just, you know, it's just not working.
It isn't, and he is the problem. He also doesn't have the same arm strength he used to have, nor does he have the same mobility. The Jets' offensive line is bad, and oh, by the way, I've been saying this for a few weeks. The defense ain't close to what it was a year ago.
No. And even last year, like, from an advanced metric perspective, they didn't grade out all that well. Actually, maybe standard metrics, they didn't grade out that well. 2 years ago, they were a truck. Last year, they played some really good football for stretches. But, I mean, like, what is the difference between the Jets right now and the Jets with Zach Wilson last year, outside of everybody sort of rising up to overcome the quarterback deficiency?
2 wins.
And now everyone's sort of letting it drag it all down.
Yeah, 2 wins is the difference. The Jets, last year's Jets were 4-4. Yeah. This year's Jets are 2-8. All right, I got to move on to other teams. A couple of more minutes. The Eagles, I think the Eagles dealt the Bengals what will ultimately be Cincinnati's knockout punch. That's a good win for Philadelphia. Yes, obviously 37-17 on the road in Cincinnati, but Washington's sort of been a product of the schedule, and I think ultimately in the next few games, Washington's...
Yeah, if Washington came back to earth, particularly on the defensive side of the ball, I don't think it would be shocking.
No.
The Eagles look like they're rounding into shape.
Right.
And,
Philly's going to win that division.
Love or hate Nick Sirianni all you want. I mean, he's a good coach. Defensively, the young guys filling in for some of the departures have played well. They still have a secondary that's full of really young guys that could maybe gel a little bit on the back half of the season. And then when you have A.J. Brown and Devonta Smith out there, along with Saquon Barkley and Jalen Hurts being really effective in the run game, it's hard to defend, man. I mean, that's just the bottom line.
Yes. I think Philadelphia looks like, and again, Sirianni is also a clown. You don't have to start talking to fans either, Nick, but
He is the definition of a jabroni, and I don't think he would even be mad if I said that.
Yeah, that's who he is. What the Ravens do yesterday? Why do you do that?
I don't know, man. Look, I read Tony Powell talking about the Browns, and I think it's really interesting because the Browns, and I didn't look at the standings this morning, so I don't want to mistake this, but I mean, before the afternoon games, they were 2 games back in the playoffs. Jameis Winston and Joe Flacco starting for the Browns, 6 of 7 games, 300 yards or more. Deshaun Watson starting for the Browns, 0 of 19 in attempts to go over 300. Jameis is the first quarterback for the Browns this year to go over 200 yards. That is a stupidly low bar. And the Browns are 0-4 in one-score games where they allowed 21 points or less prior to yesterday. The Deshaun Watson experiment has to be over. Cleveland is going to be a frisky problem with Jameis. They got really keen. There's almost zero doubt in my mind that Kevin Stefanski has been quote unquote standing by Deshaun Watson at the absolute direction of ownership. And it should be a lesson to the Haslams. Like, you meddled for years, your team stunk, you took your hands away and let football guys do stuff, and the team was good again. Then you had to get back in with Deshaun, and they stunk again. They could have crafted this team with a veteran quarterback, whether it's Flacco or Jameis, had 3 extra first-round picks, and they'd be a problem in the AFC.
No, I don't think you're wrong there. I do wonder. I don't know. I mean, Deshaun Watson's going to be on the roster. They're not going to take a $172 million dead cap hit.
Take the hit and get rid of him. Good karma. We're talking about karma. Get rid of Deshaun Watson, pay him out. Reportedly, they've got some insurance stuff, so they don't. Poor Jimmy Haslam won't have to lose, $80 million. Like it would.
Right, but it's not about. It's about the cap. They can't.
Yeah, I know.
You can't put a team on the field taking even if you split the cap hit over 2 years. Can't put a team on the field and take an $82 million cap hit.
I'm in a car, so I don't have his contract in front of me, but I mean, we do post June 1 after this year, and I'm sure. I mean, I would rather. I think a lot of teams would too. Bite the bullet up front, and then get yourself some cap space, and know that you can, try and finagle something. It's a stupid contract, so that may not be the way they want to go. But I mean, I do think he shouldn't play again.
No, I agree. I just think he's going to be on the roster. So even if you bury him, he's going to be on the roster. He's on Houston's roster for a year and not playing. So
that's
right.
Roll it back.
Well, it's a good thing. Well, the Jets brought in Hassan Reddick. They figured that out. Can he play? Can he play quarterback? All right, we'll leave it there. We'll have a lot more to talk about next week. Will Brinson, senior NFL writer, CBSSports.com. He sorts the Sunday pile. All right, my friend. I'll talk to you later.
All right, buddy. Have a great week.
Take care.